So I went to Terrificon and I figured I'd pick up just a couple of books. And yeah, I pretty much filled this duffel bag with comic books. Let's take a look at what's in here up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe. Just today, past 4,500 subscribers while I was at the show. Thanks to all the support. We're going to be building towards 5,000 subscribers. We're going to do a big giveaway at 5K. So, if you enjoy this channel, I really appreciate all the support. I like hearing the comments. If you could do that, it really helps. I appreciate it. Also, follow us on the other socials, Instagram, Bronzeville_comics, Whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. If you're not yet signed on to Whatnot, please update using the link in the description, and you get $5 off your first purchase. Also in the description of this video is a link to my eBay store, as well as my email. And be honest, if you see something in my eBay store, just reach out to me on my email. Maybe we can do something. Work something out off eBay, especially like a bigger book. And if you're looking for kids' toys, I got some kids' toys in there. I apologize. It's 1:39 in the morning when I'm recording this, and I am a little tired. So here's how my day went. All good stuff. I had a great time. I went to Terrificon. I got up at 6:30 in the morning, showered, shaved, got dressed, and got on the road. I got to Mohegan Sun. It's about a 2-hour drive, so maybe about 9:15. Now here's a helpful hint. The line for tickets was long. I did pay a little bit extra because you got to pay the service charge. I bought the tickets online, and I was able to get right in. The show started at 10. I was in at 9:30. And I'm going to show you a quick look of some video I took of the show. If you've never been to Terrificon, it's a good, I would say, kind of more mid-sized comic convention, but there are a lot of comics.
Dude, they would ban that 100%.
So that was a quick look. That was all I could really do because I kept getting interrupted, and I didn't think about doing it until like the end of the show as they were announcing they were going to shut down. So many people from the community there, some old friends. I met some new people. Had a great time. I met up with 360 Comics. He had a couple buddies, and then I was at Streetside Anthony's booth. E-Rod was there. Of course, Very Gary was selling. NRG, Lone Wolf, Yasu, they were there selling. Fury Comics. So a whole bunch of people. Of course, 3 Men in a Basement were there. The Defects were there. And I ran into, and I'll put a picture up here, 360 that I took with Swagglehouse, who is from the West Coast and came out to Terrificon. So it was great to meet up with another fellow YouTube content creator. Again, Very Gary, E-Rod, 360, Swagglehouse, they all have YouTube channels, all put out really cool content. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some people that I ran into there. Aaron, ABH Comics, who's a good friend of mine. We've met at comic shows over the last couple of years. So actually, I ended up doing, believe it or not, when you see all the books that I got, I kind of spent more time socializing than digging. There was a lot there. And there was a lot of good stuff. And a show of this size, compared to like New York, which is my other big comic convention experience, there was a lot more room to move around. There were cosplayers there. There were people with T-shirts. I got a couple T-shirts for my kids. There were people with Funko Pops, different like jewelry they created, and all sorts of stuff. But you know what? I didn't really notice that so much because I'm just looking for the next comic book. I'm looking for long boxes, right? Looking at wall books. So what I enjoyed about the whole thing. So I left the house at about just after 7 a.m. And I got home just after 1 a.m. Right? So it was a long day because the show ran from 10 to 7. Other than the lunch break, I was there the entire time. And this is what we talk about when we talk about comic book community. I've met so many people that have become new friends over the last couple of years that it's really great. Another fan of the channel came up, and Delano, and he introduced himself. It was funny. I ran into him as I came back from lunch, and then I was over by Barry Gary's booth. He goes, "Yeah, somebody was looking for you. I think I just ran into him." Just great catching up, seeing what other people got. He got some really cool books, so at 7:00 the show was done. And then I went out to dinner. And one of the nice things about like the community aspect, right? The socialization, the friendship, is I had lunch with 4 people, or 3 other people, 2 that I've never sat down and broken bread with before. And we had dinner with 5 other people who none of them I've ever sat down and broken bread with before. So just that thing, you have the common thing, you can talk about comic books, and then it morphs into other things, pop culture, life in general, that sort of thing. So that's a lot of fun. And I did, since it was at Mohegan Sun, which is a casino, I spent a little time gambling. But I am a statistician by trade, so I know the rules of probability. So I'm not a great gambler, but I'm not a bad gambler. I ended up, basically, as we were waiting for tables for lunch and dinner at the restaurants there, I just played video poker, and I ended up losing $53. I could have bought a nice book for that, but, it's just another part of the entire experience of being at Mohegan Sun. I'm sure there are people that have been there the whole weekend that lost more than that. I know that for a fact. So anyway, I'm going to try to I'm not sure. So I did something at this show that I've never done before at a show, and I kind of liked what I did. On my phone, on notes, I just went, and I didn't get all of the vendors. There were like 3 vendors I didn't get their names, so that's bad on me. And I now know how much I spent in total and how much I spent with each vendor. So I would, we'd make the deal, boom, these books, and those books are kind of like in order in my duffel bag, more or less. I was showing some of them off at lunch and at dinner. So I think we're good here. Yeah, that's about right. And I know how much I spent for the show and with who. So let's go. I can't remember the name of the first vendor. He gave me a card. I have a card in here. I don't think it's his because he was from Kentucky, and this card is from an area code from Maine. So he's a really great guy, really nice guy. Had some nice older Golden Age books, a large selection. Nothing quite as old as what I was necessarily looking for, but a veteran and just a really cool guy. We had a good time chatting. I picked this up a few times recently. This is the first appearance of Checkmate, and I've been specking on this for the Waller series. This I just picked up. It's a run filler. for Superboy. The indicia still indicates that this is Superboy, but it's, you know, like a trade dress that's Superboy and Legion of Superheroes. This is a book, if you've been watching the channel at all, you'll recognize this. Shade the Changing Man #1. Ditko. Character who's been in Justice League Dark. I may or may not have enough of those yet. This is a pretty sharp copy. Got a couple spine ticks. You know, it's not a big key because you'd probably need it in at least a 9.6, even though it's from, I think it's from 76, 77. And it's Superboy 216. This is the first appearance of Tyrock, who was a member of the Legion. His membership didn't last too long. If I remember correctly, I didn't read all of the stories from this era of the Legion as a kid, but he was from like a planet, an island or something that kind of had a Brigadoon-esque situation where it would only be in vibratory frequency with Earth occasionally, and he had like supersonic voice powers. So that I've been kind of hoarding these Legion first appearances, and then this is a first appearance, and this is, you know, I haven't looked at any of these books you know, since I got home to really give them a solid grade to see, but this looks like a high grade one, and it's probably better than what I would have in my PC. And this is All-Star Comics 69. This is the first appearance of Huntress, who is the daughter of Earth 2 Batman and Catwoman. And this is a pretty sharp copy. I'd love to be able to get a nice high-grade, gradable copy of that. So that was at that first vendor. So then I was just kind of going around, and I was spending more time just chatting with people. I went to Chris's Comics, and somebody, was it Anthony or Aaron? Somebody said, oh, you should go over there. They have some good stuff. And they did. That's somebody else. In the meantime, I stopped by KV Comics, who was dealing there. He's on Whatnot. We've been in each other's shows quite a bit, and he's a friend of the channel. And he had gotten some of these. These were made by, and I actually bought books from this vendor later on, SidekickSupplies.com. And KV had an extra one of these he gave me, and this is a Sidekick. It's I guess a patent pending that they have on this, where when you have a long box or a short box and the box isn't filled, in order to prevent the books from flopping over, you just stick this in. This goes into and it's got grips on the inside, so it's gonna hold fast and not really slide. You put it on the side of the box, and it basically is sort of like a bookend for a comic book box. So that was cool, and people were buying quite a few of those. So I got a bunch of these. So this guy had $20 bins. Okay, that's on the more expensive side of a bin, but the books were there were some good books in there, and he had a deal going. He had $20 or 2 for $30. So essentially, you got an even number. You know, anything after 2, he said, you get $15 a piece. So I picked up. I think I picked up, if I remember correctly from counting, 28, and then he gave me another $10 off. Just made an even 200. So that was good. I just want to make sure I have all of them before I go through them. Oh, no, I got 20. I got 14. Right? 14 times 15. Yeah. So, here, what did I pick up from him? Sandman 25. First Dead Boy Detectives. I think this was the one I added just to make it an even number at the end. And these are pretty sharp copies. Actually, there's 2 that go together here. It's Crisis on Infinite Earths 7. So I'm going to take a close look at these, you know, from inspection, quickly and pulling out of a bin. They're pretty high grade. Would love to have 9.8 candidates of that, and also Crisis 8. Death of Supergirl and Death of Flash. This book, I was quite surprised. I've never had a copy of this, I don't think. Spectacular Spider-Man 9. This is the first appearance of the White Tiger, who is the first Hispanic superhero in Marvel Comics. His niece, I think it is, had her, was another iteration of White Tiger, had her own series about, what was that, about 10 or so years ago. And this is in pretty decent shape. I mean, this is not a mid-grade book. This is a nice book. Then, I'm almost embarrassed. I got Spider-Man 7, Spider-Boy cover. This also looks pretty sharp. I love to get this in high grade too because people keep speculating on this character. Quake makes her first appearance here in Secret War #2. Quake, of course, was part of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series, and we keep hearing rumors that that actress may reprise her role in the MCU. This one I picked up for me. Infinite Crisis 5, first appearance of Jaime Reyes. I think it's a second print sketch cover by Perez. Unfortunately, they did not do a second print Jim Lee sketch cover. Then it's, what's this? New X-Men 128, first appearance of Phantom X. This was a book that was like, went on fire during the comic boom. I'm going to hold, let me put the ones that have news to last. And then, oh yeah, this, and again, I need to inspect these a little more closely, but these are solid copies. I'm not seeing any big creasing or stains on the cover. Swamp Thing 7. Bernie Wrightson cover with Swamp Thing and Batman. That's an awesome book. And Swamp Thing 9. This is the classic Wrightson cover. I do have to see how much of this run I've been putting together. And the Wrightson run is a very collectible run, and even I'm not sure how many issues the series went after he left the book. Then Flash 92, first appearance of Impulse. This book got a little bit hotter. It's cooled off since when they introduced the character on the TV show, but those CW shows didn't really move the market too much. And here's the other thing, digging through bins, make sure you look at your news. I use Key Collector. They don't advertise on this show, unlike some others. So, but they are a useful tool. And it's got a little crease in the corner, but this is popped recently because of, I think, Death's first appearance in a Marvel comic, Journey into Mystery 1. Regardless, it's a 20-cent marble bronze horror book. I think that must be a Gil Kane cover. Or maybe not. No, I don't think that is Kane. But I got to look that up. That's a nice book. And then I just saw on Key Collector that they announced that Donald Glover is going to be writing, he and his brother, I think it is, are going to be writing a Lando Calrissian Disney Plus series. This is the first appearance of Lando in comics. And it hasn't really affected the market from what I've seen too much yet. Maybe when it is released to the public, but at San Diego Comic-Con, I guess they released a preview video of the new X-Men 97 series, and this is a nice high-grade copy of X-Men Adventures 1. You really need this. If you're going to get a grade, it really needs to be a 90. So that was that haul. Just dug through some boxes and got some pretty nice books. So I keep referring back to my phone. So the next vendor I went to, I just got one book from. And this is also similar to, that's why I reshuffled those books, that X-Men Adventures news. Evidently, they also released a trailer at San Diego Comic-Con for the much delayed, I'm not sure that long anticipated is the correct wording, trailer for the Red Sonja movie. And I picked up this nice sharp copy for, I think, a really good deal. And I did look at it. It's, I think, at least, on its worst day, it's a 7. So I have to kind of think of the timing of it. I already have, I think, a 7.0 of this. So I might get this graded. And first appearance of Red Sonja, she's going to have a movie. So that I got for what I thought was a nice deal. That was from Phoenix Comics. Made my way out to the 3 Men in a Basement booth. They were playing a Where's Otto game. Because if you're familiar with 3 Men in a Basement, and if you've ever been in a show, Otto is never at the 3 Men in a Basement booth. So if you could take a selfie, with Otto, unbeknownst to himself in the background, you got put into a raffle. I had won a raffle with them last year, not this year, but I picked up some books from them. Roger and Chinmo were manning the station. I picked up this Uncanny X-Men 197 just because the Great Doom cover. I think this was one of the... I did have some Avengers books like in the 110 range when I was a kid. But I remember this is kind of when I started collecting the series, or like got more tuned into the series. Classic cover. Another copy of the first Ryan Choi. I like this one. This is Spectacular Spider-Man with Sabretooth, but it's also the first appearance of the Foreigner, who evidently is going to be in the Craven movie. And then I picked up this All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley. James Gunn had tweeted a picture of this cover. There may be some aspects of this story that he uses, some beats that he uses in the Superman Legacy movie, but what's really cool about this book is it is a newsstand. And then this is a pretty sharp copy. I have to see if it is a contender. And I love this. This is such a great cover. Uncanny X-Men 191. This is the first appearance of Nimrod. And while I was at the booth, I had pre-ordered my 3 Men in Basement t-shirt, which they were inspired by the logo for the X-Men animated series, which we're going to see again. I have to watch that series all the way through. I started watching it when it was first on, and then, I wasn't really watching many Saturday morning cartoons at the time. I just got to go through that library. I was already an X-Men fan well before that took place, and was collecting the book monthly at that time. And like I said, San Diego Comic-Con, they dropped some footage. It's coming soon. I don't know if all the voice acting has been done. If they're at that point of all the voice acting has been done for that, then they can move ahead with production. Then the next booth was J&S. These books I all got, and I believe all of them have one thing in common. They're all going into the PC because the thing they have in common is they're all from DC books from 1972, and they're genre books. Picked up a Young Romance. And those romance books, especially in higher grade, are tough. And then they had a whole bunch of horror. Now, to be honest, my organizational mishaps or organizational backlog of my comics means I may have multiple copies of a couple of these, but these are all pretty sharp. I didn't open them up and do page counts and such, but they kind of fit the bill. Nothing major detracting from the covers. House of Mystery 209. And some of these have just amazing covers. House of Secrets 98. And I'm thinking to myself, this may be 71. July? No, July is 72, I think. 98. Yeah, it's 72. House of Secrets 101. What you can tell is... Yeah, that's right, for bi-monthlies. From January to June, or from July with the bi-monthlies, they are 25 cents in 1972. And then from July or August to the end of the year, they're 20 cents. So these are only 3 issues apart, so they are July to October. Maybe some of them, sometimes books were printed 8 months a year, or 8 times a year, more frequently during the summer. And then we also got a copy of Unexpected, 136, 25 center from June, and then a 20 center from August that says now only, so you know that they just switched back to 20 cents. Our Army at War. According to my my database, I don't have any of these, but I might. You never know. So that was a JNS. Then I went to Very Gary's booth. I didn't see. I found. There was a copy of Batman, Harley Quinn, and I looked at the price, and I'm like, what print is this? It was the third print. It wasn't the first print. I said to Gary, I said, yeah, didn't think I could get that past you. That would go, that for the price it was at. It was appropriately priced for a third print, and it would have been a nice bargain for a first print. He goes, yeah, if it was a first print, it'd be on the wall. So I picked up one book from him. I didn't have this, I don't think, is Detective Comics. This is a pretty sharp copy. These 100-pagers get rough because they are square bound. And I think this is the last Detective Comics 100-pager I needed. And you could see, I always liked at the bottom they had, because they had so many stories, Golden Age, Silver Age reprints. So you could see they had Adam and Hawkman. New stories by Manhunter, and then they had Dr. Fate and Kid Eternity. Okay, next after Gary, I went to Erod. And this is not in my database, but regardless, it's a pretty nice copy for how early it is. Justice League of America 10, first appearance of Felix Faust. That's a nice looking copy. And I also picked up a copy which may be an upgrade. I have to look at the copy I currently have of Commandy 1. I really want like a 9 point something of this book. Jack Kirby, kind of his second wave of comics for DC, along with Demon and OMAC. And then Erod and I think Erod was doing with Gary. They dropped this Terrificon exclusive by Ryan Brown, limited to 900. So support the community. I picked one of those up from Erod. Gave me a nice deal for all three. And then where was I off to next? Then I went to this vendor. I didn't, for most of them I wrote down the names, who has a lot of Golden Age stuff. So I was kind of just digging through the Golden Age boxes. And if you've been watching the channel, for any length of time, I am trying to collect comics cover dated May 1946, completely randomly. And don't ask me why, because that is the opposite of completely randomly. I used a random number generator to pick a month and a year during the Golden Age. I don't even remember how. Maybe whatever. So I thought it was a good year. So I picked this out, and it's funny because my previous video was on quality comics, and I got a quality comic, Hit Comics 40, with Kid Eternity on the cover. It's a pretty nice book. It does have a stain down there in the corner here. That kind of goes through the book, but the bones of the book are pretty solid. I got to get this into a better bag. It goes into my May 1946 collection. Unfortunately, the art is, and it's solid artwork for the Golden Age. Al Bryant signed the cover there. It's not McRoboy or Lou Fine, but I picked this up, and I was kind of on I kind of had an appetite for quality Golden Age comics, so this fit the bill perfectly. And you see, there was a kid. I wonder if it's the same story. That would be hilarious. A Kid Eternity book in the previous stack. Then I went. What did I get? I don't even remember what was next. I spent $60 with somebody, and I'm not sure who it was. That's 30. This guy was more than that. This was, well, maybe it was this. Yes. I started to get distracted. This, $5 bins. $5 bins. Yep, now I remember. And it was $5 a book, buy two, get one free. So it's essentially $3.33 a book. So I got a multiple of 3. Zatanna 8. And then I got a bunch of Gotham City Sirens. Some of these I need, some I don't. I have to make sure that the doubles I have. And this is, for a modern series, it's a very sought-after series. So this is going to help me, because for some reason, of all things, it wasn't on my pull list at the time. Because it was about the time that my older one was born. Then I grabbed this. I've been picking this up a lot. This is an awesome book. Franklin Richards becomes Avatar. Not either The Last Airbender or whatever. Another Gotham City Sirens. Silver Surfer #1 from Volume 3. $5, sure. Punisher War Journal, second part of the Wolverine crossover. That's not... I'll put the least excited. Quasar #1, because why not? That'll be a little bit of a spec book. This is a nice one. You know, it would be... It's got a couple of spine issues, but it is Detective Comics 578 with a McFarlane cover, and it is a newsstand. Very nice. And then talking about covers, this great Moon Knight cover with Daredevil by Bill Sienkiewicz. So I will say this up front, right in the middle here, because a lot of people have those questions. I am not a big signature guy. I don't really actively collect signed books. So, yeah. Okay. I missed a few books. I don't know where in the world this other book is. I have this one random book. I don't know where I got it because it's just... Maybe it was the only one I picked up at that booth and I didn't account for it. Because now we're getting down to... at the end, I was kind of more dollar bin digging. So I'm going to say... Yeah. I've left out... And how much? So I think this is the only... I don't know who I picked this up from, but I picked it up. It was this I picked up right before lunch. So I think I forgot to put it in my list. I was looking at a couple of books, and all of them would have been doubles or upgrades, but this, it just looked really sharp to me. Justice League of America 55, the first appearance of the Golden Age Robin in the Silver Age, wearing that kind of hybrid costume. I do have a copy of this from when I was a kid. It's not in this nice a condition. And I really, when I was a kid, I liked this costume that they had on Robin. In one of the DC Justice League 100 pages, somebody had done a spread of all the members of the Justice Society, and this was the costume that Robin was wearing. And for me as a kid, because we played with our toys, you know, we didn't keep them in the boxes, unfortunately. The Mego line of action figures, right? One of the things you did, because ended up getting, like, you know, more than one Batman and Robin or whatever. Because the Robin figure was, if I remember correctly, it was a little bit smaller than the Batman one. Pop the head off of Robin, put it on Batman, take off Batman's cape, and put on the yellow Robin cape, and boom, you had Earth 2 Robin. You had to be creative back in those days. One of the other things we could do was put Robin's leotards on Mr. Spock, and you had Submariner. Now, this next batch, what did I pay for this? Okay, that's another... Again, I should have been better at this. Because okay. This was my last big purchase of the day. And I was really happy with what I dug out of the bins for the prices they had. Another copy of Shade the Changing Man #1, because why not? A Strange Adventures. This is a lower grade, number 190. It's the third appearance of Animal Man, but his first appearance in costume. I'm kind of specking on Animal Man, thinking that James Gunn might make use of him. I don't have this PC. This, I thought, it's mid-grade, but I've been kind of, like, this was kind of one in the back of my head, like my unofficial list of books that I've been looking for, because I didn't believe I never had it, and I got it for a nice price, I thought. Was Showcase 60. This is the first appearance of the Spectre in the Silver Age. So that's been a book that has really, its value has become more robust. Then there was one dealer, I thought their prices were a little high, but they had some TV and movie books. I think they had a box of TV books. And I picked up this, Car 54, Where Are You? This was a short-lived sitcom that ran maybe 61 to 63, about that era. Now, you may not recognize this guy. This is early in his career because he doesn't have any bolts in his neck. That's Fred Gwynn, who played Herman Munster, or you may know from My Cousin Vinny as the Judge. What are Utes? Classically trained Shakespearean actor. Then I just went around and did some bin diving and boop, boop, boop. Okay, yeah. I want to make sure I have. Then, yeah, I went to Sidekick and picked up just a small handful of books. I'm trying to think. I think he did these. Brave New World #1, first appearance of Ryan Choi, who becomes the third Adam. We did see Ryan Choi in the James Gunn, not the James Gunn, Zack Snyder Justice League cut. Doom Patrol #1, why not? New Guardians #2, the first appearance of Snowflame, the cocaine-powered supervillain. As I'm saying, if you're going to be a supervillain in the 80s, it would make sense that you'd be involved with cocaine. Steel #1. It was cheap enough. I have the run from when I was a kid. I don't know if I have this 100-pager, Unexpected, but it was like $2 or something. And can't go wrong with Mike Mignola cover on Batgirl Special. So if we ever see Batgirl in the DCU, that would be awesome. I think we will. Then the next batch, I think I just picked up 10 dollar bins. Yeah, these were all $1. Justice League Dark, I'll take those for $1 all day. Those are increasing popularity. I think it was just Justice League Dark and Sandman. So, and then this random DC 20 center. I figured I wanted to get to 10. And this is the Shazam Origin. And this is the first appearance of the new Shazam, I believe. New 52 stuff. And then I went to Lone Wolf, and he gave me a nice deal on some good books. One of which you'll see for the second time. And it was Journey into Mystery #1. I actually have a copy somewhere around here. So now I have 3 of these. A-Team #1. I do have to check the value of that in 9.8. Just picked up this random Flash. Because, why not a Silver Age? And then I picked up this, and I didn't even realize until Aaron pointed this out. Wolverine #66, First Old Man Logan. It's a little bit, it's not a 9.8 candidate. It's got some issues with it, but it is a newsstand. So for this late in the game, that's a pretty cool book to have. And then I have one other batch that I picked up. What I spent here? I think I spent, they had like 5 books and $10 books. Doctor Doom cover and X-Men. This is kind of a classic cover. This Vision Wonder Man fight. Trying to think who did that cover. It looks like a Jack Kirby style, but I'm pretty sure it is not Kirby himself. Another Ryan Choi. Spectacular Spider-Man with the Foreigner. All-Star Superman, which, James Gunn had hinted at. Also a newsstand. Very nice. And then this is a pretty sharp copy. I'll have to take a closer look at it, see if it is a candidate of the first appearance of the Nimrod. Wow. That was a lot. I picked up a lot of comic books today. So I have a lot of work ahead of me. I'm not sure which ones are potentially gradable. But the fact of the matter is, the majority of those comics, or at least the majority in terms of the money I spent on them, is going to be going into the PC. So, basically all those 1972 books, the Kid Eternity book, the Spectre book, a a lot in the PC. There are some that, you know, I'm going to see if I can get graded, or I bought because just announced properties. Let me know what you think about. Let me know if you were able to get to Terrificon, if you've ever been to Terrificon. It is at the Mohegan Sun Resort and Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut. I think it's Uncasville. It's a great show. I don't think I went last year for a day. I don't think I'm going to be able to go next year because I'm pretty sure it's going to coincide with the Summer Olympics. So I may be out of the loop on this show next year. So let me know what you think about the pickups. Let me know if you've ever been there. In the meantime, I'm tired. Here are a couple of my other videos, and this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.